Today we're going to learn how you can contest your real estate taxes. Sooner or later, every real estate investor has to go fight their taxes or they'll just go through the roof. The people that pay the least amount of taxes fight often. So hang around. I'm going to show you how to fight your taxes. There are at least two types of property tax payers. There are the people that fight their property tax all the time and have low property taxes. And there are those property tax payers that never fight their property tax and pay the most property tax they can possibly pay. So, which one do you want to be? I'm going to guess you want to be the one that fights your taxes regularly and pays the least amount they can. Unfortunately, at least in the state I live in, they seem to just send out random people tax increases. So there's no rhyme or reason for who gets a tax increase. It's just kind of randomly done. And then it's up to those poor people to prove that the tax increase was, what would you say, less than fair or not correct. So the taxing authority just sends out some crazy tax number and then counts on the general public to bring all the evidence and all the data in to show everyone what the taxes should be. I don't like it. I think it's a crappy way to do business. I mean, you know how to get these numbers. All these cities and everyone, they know how to get these numbers, but they put the burden on us. And they're probably counting on a large number of people who won't fight their taxes and they'll just accept this exorbitant tax increase. And it happens every day. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people who didn't get their notice, didn't pay attention to their notice. They don't have time to deal with it, whatever the case may be. And this exorbitant tax increase is just going through on them because they're not resisting. They're not using the laws and fighting or contesting their property taxes as they should. All right, before we go on to the 4 steps you need to take to fight your property taxes, let's do this. Check out that like button, hit that a couple times. Check out the share button and share this episode with your friends and neighbors. And then if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. We appreciate it very much. And I'm glad that you're helping us along and letting people know that this wonderful YouTube channel is available. The first step is to find out what is your house actually worth. This has nothing to do with the tax assessment. It has to do with what like-kind properties are selling for in your neighborhood or in your area. So the easiest way to do it, but the most expensive way, is to call up an appraiser. The appraiser will go out and charge you $400 to $500 to $600, and he'll tell you what your house is based on the comparables in the area. Who's got an extra $400 or $500 to spend? Not me. So the next thing you can do is you could call a broker and get a BPO, maybe for like $100, $150. A BPO is a broker's professional opinion. And actually what they're going to do is the same thing the appraiser does. They're going to get into the MLS system. They're going to find all the houses that are like your house that have sold in the last 6 months. And they're going to come up with an average price per square foot. Then they're going to plug it into the square footage of your house. And voila, they're going to be able to tell you pretty dang close what your house is worth. Now, if you have a very odd kind of property where, I don't know, you have lots of barns or you have underground cellars or I don't know, something out of the normal, then this could take a little more research and maybe need a professional. But if it's just a regular tract house or a house in a regular neighborhood and there's lots of houses like it around the area, then you're probably okay. You can also get a realtor to do this, probably for free and probably just to earn your trust and be on your top of mind awareness. Call one of your favorite realtors and say, hey, would you mind running some comps on my house? Now, they're going to be under no obligation to be accurate, but if it's a good realtor and they know what they're doing, they should be able to get pretty darn close to the value of your property. Number 2, you're probably going to have to file a written notice that you want to contest your property taxes. Now, I'm in the state of Texas, and we have a certain time that we do this by. We have to do it by April the 30th of every year. I don't know if you're in a different state, if it's exactly the same, but I'm sure you have to give written notice to somebody by some certain time that you want to contest the new assessment or the assessment of your property. Now, step number 3 is you can call and you can have a conversation probably over the phone with one of the tax assessor collectors people, and you can start to talk to the appraisal board and see why they are putting your property up at such a high value. Try to figure out where they're coming from and gain a strategy plan. And then you'll go to work putting your story together. I want to make something clear here. If your house is really worth what the new assessment says it's worth, then you probably don't want to waste your time, because the appraisal board and all these people will have access to all the information that you have access to. And if it's just a no-brainer that your house is worth what they're assessing it for, then don't waste your time and just be happy that your house is going up in value, truly. That brings us to step number 4. And that means you'll be meeting with the appraisal board and you'll be sitting down to state your case. Hopefully you have some really great evidence as to why your property isn't worth what they're saying, which means you found comps in the areas of comparable houses that sold for a lot less than what the appraisal is telling you these houses should be worth. Now, don't think for a minute that you're going to go in there and just pull the bottom echelon of the low solds and leave out all the highs, and that somehow is going to fool somebody. It won't fool anyone. You have to be realistic about the real comps that are out there and put together a real and truthful story about your property taxes. If you're deciding to fight your taxes, I'll wish you the best of luck. If you're deciding to go after financial freedom, I'd like to give you a copy from my book, My Life in 1,000 Houses, Failing Forward to Financial Freedom. It's a chapter on the moat theory, and it comes out of this book right here. And it's how I fought to become financially free and go through all the failures that I knew that I would have to go through, but not go under with every failure. I tried to figure out a way to fail forward. And in that chapter, I describe a scenario I call the moat theory, and I think you'll find it very interesting. I'm a simple person. I have a very simple mind, and I have to keep things very simple. And I figured out that if being wealthy and very successful was in the cards for me, I was going to have to learn how to fail without going under and drowning completely, because I knew failure was part of the process. So check it out. Just go to 1000houses.com/free-stuff, and I'm going to give you a chapter right out of this book called The Moat Theory.